let's do a Grove telescopic boom problem. We have our data table with most of the information we'll need to solve the problem. We have the question and we have the answer options. What is the question looking for? It's looking for net capacity. What is the maximum net capacity? So let's go ahead and write in our formula. Net capacity equals gross capacity minus deductions. Let's draw in our diagram that represents the crane's configuration. We have 40 foot of boom and a 10-foot radius. Moving on down the column, we have an auxiliary boom head. Let's draw that in. That is a deduction. And I just like to use a rectangle to represent the auxiliary boom head. And I said it is a deduction, so let me go ahead and put a line here over to the right. Oops. Need to learn how to spell. Okay, auxiliary head. Moving over to the last column, we've got a 32-foot fixed jib stowed on the boom. That also is a deduction. And I like to use an upside down triangle to represent that. And again, your artwork doesn't have to be fantastic as long as you can read your own diagram and read your own writing. That's all that's important. Yeah, jib stowed. And we haven't wrote in any numbers yet. They don't give us the weights for the deductions. We're going to have to look that up in the load chart notes here in a few seconds. But let's go ahead and draw everything in, and then we'll come back and look up those numbers. Okay, we've got a 45-ton block with cheek plates. We've got 337 pounds of rigging. Does give us the weight for the rigging. We've also got 6 parts of line. Now we've got all of our deductions labeled. Let's go back to the load chart notes and find the weights that we need to be deducting. Okay. Auxiliary boom head, 143 pounds. These are different deductions for different jibs and different jib configurations. We're looking for 32-foot fixed stowed. And there it is right there. 267 pounds. Now we need to find the deduction for the 45-ton with cheek plates. And there it is right there, 1,095 pounds. And this is an area where a guy could get himself in trouble. There's 45-ton with cheek plates. There's also 45-ton without cheek plates. Make sure you've got the right block. Make sure you're writing in the correct number, as it would be real easy to write down 895 pounds instead of the correct 1,095 pounds. So you want to be quick and accurate. One other deduction we need to think about is the wire rope deduction. On some cranes, you deduct all of the wire rope from tip to ground. That's not the case with this crane. You only deduct the wire rope that is in excess of what you need to make the lift. Let me go ahead and write a definition of extra wire rope down, or excess wire rope. It's not a difficult concept, but it can be difficult going from one crane where you deduct all the wire rope to one crane where you only deduct the excess. Excess wire rope is parts of line not needed to make the lift. In other words, how many parts wire rope do you need to make the lift? If you have any parts of wire rope beyond those parts, you deduct those. But you don't deduct the wire rope that's needed to make the lift. Okay, let's take this a little bit further. Okay, let's find the chart capacity for this configuration. And make sure you're on the correct chart. We're lifting off the main boom 360 degrees. Outriggers are fully extended. On outriggers fully extended 360 degrees. This is the correct chart that we want to use. We've got a boom length of 40 and a radius of 10. So 68,000 is our chart capacity. Go ahead and write that down. Okay, how many parts line do we need to lift this capacity? If we had a load that weighed 68,000, how many parts line would we need? Okay, we find that by dividing 68,000. Let me show you something else here. Our single line capacity is 12,920 pounds. Let me go ahead and write that down. Our single line capacity is 12,920 pounds. So we divide our chart capacity by 12,920, and that tells us that we need 6 parts line to lift up to that chart capacity. That's at 5.26, but you can have a fractional part of line, so you round up to 6. You need 6 parts of line to make a lift up to the chart capacity. So because we need all 6 parts of line, there is no wire rope deduction. So let's just write a big fat 0 in here for a wire rope deduction. We don't have any excess line. Just to illustrate this a bit further, what if our chart capacity was 38,000? We would divide 38,000 by 12,920. And we would need 2.9 or 3 parts of line to make that, to lift up to that capacity. So if we need 3 and we've got 6, we would deduct 3 parts line tip to ground. Okay. May not be clear yet, but as we do some more problems, it will become more clear. Let's go ahead and move on. At this point, okay, we've got our chart capacity down. There's no wire rope deduction because we don't have any excess wire rope. What is our line capacity? We always want to put in our chart capacity and our line capacity. With 6 parts line, our line capacity is 6 times 12,920. Get our calculator here. Chart or line capacity is 77,520. Remember, your gross capacity that we use in the formula, that we plug into the formula, is going to be the smallest of the chart capacity or the line capacity. So let's write in 68,000, which is the smallest of those two different capacities. That's going to be our gross capacity. Now let's go over and total up our deductions. We've got 267 for the jib that's stowed, plus 143 for the auxiliary head, plus 1,095 for the 45-ton block with cheek plates, plus rigging, that is 337 pounds. Gives us our total deductions of 1,842 pounds. Bring this over to our formula, plug it in, then do the math. 68,000 minus 1,842 leaves us with a net capacity of 66,158, and that is answer option C. Yeah, I know some of you are probably a little bit freaked out about the extra wire rope thing, especially if you've been working on the Manitowoc problems. But don't freak out. Just let's do some more problems, and it will become more clear as you work through some more problems. You know, these problems that we do in the videos, plus some additional practice problems, you will eventually get the hang of it.